Hello again, Struck. Today I'm bringing you part 2 of my Wolcen Words of Mayhem new skills and modifiers preview video. I will be sharing with you some new skills together with their modifiers, some of their modifiers that have been teased by the developers online. Some of the skills that I showed you last time I couldn't show you modifiers of, so I will be also showing you modifiers of those skills. If you want to read the official blog posts by the developers, feel free to check the links in the description. And now I will start off by showing you some of the skills I introduced with my previous video, but I didn't have info about the modifiers. The first one will be Eclipse. As you can see, this spell allows you to cast a cone of shadow and it will destroy projectiles and knock back enemies. I showed you this one last week, but I didn't show you this, the modifiers. The first one allows us a chance to frenzy enemies hit by the blast, which means they would be attacking random targets. Then the next one, Eclipse now has a 360-degree area of effect around yourself, which is amazing for some tank builds maybe. Reflects projectiles instead of destroying them. Pretty interesting and very nice. And now let's move on to the next skill. Evasion is a skill that allows us to dash in the opposite direction of our cursor and to also drop a projectile that slows enemies in the area. Then we have Enshrouded Distance that knocks back enemies in the opposite direction of the dash. Very interesting modifier, I can see some uses for it. Then you have a modifier Unseen Autonomy, which breaks any crowd control effects, perfect for escape mechanics. And the next modifier, Swatting Smoke, begins force shield regeneration if an enemy is hit by a projectile. And next I will be showing you all of those necro skills that you would have been wanting some information about, starting with Feeding Swarm, which I did show a bit of last week, but I didn't share some of the modifiers. This skill allows us to summon one zombie, and when recasting it, it will keep summoning zombies until it reaches the limit. The default limit is 2. If you reach the limit and press the skill, it will force the zombies to attack where the cursor is. Now for the modifiers, one of them allows us to increase the movement speed of the summons and increase the health of our summons. Another modifier would be this one that allows the summons to become bigger, increasing their health and damage, but reducing the maximum number of summons by 1. And then we have this one that allows the summons to explode when they are killed, and they also explode when they reach the target you order them to charge, so kind of like kamikaze zombies. I think it's safe to assume there will be more ways to increase the number of the zombies, whether it's modifiers or items. Another necro summoning skill would be Hunting Swarm, which allows us to summon a zombie that deals damage with ranged attacks. When that number of zombies reaches maximum, they would start attacking the target underneath our cursor. And here is the first modifier that I can share. Summon's attack speed is increased after using this skill, and the next one would allow us to increase the number of summons by 1. Maybe the other zombies might have some of the same modifiers too. And then we have this one, which allows the summons shots, arrow shots to explode on impact, which most likely would be very good for mobbing. And here comes the tank / survivability summon, Liver Mortis, which is a poison golem. Allows us to summon a poison golem that cleaves enemies. If the skill is cast again, the golem shouts a war cry that generates aggro threat. First modifier that was shared with us is one that allows the summon to generate more threat, and it also increases the health for the summon. The next one was one that allows a portion of the damage received by us to be transmitted to the summon, which gives us good survivability, and then more survivability comes by this one. Converts the summon's base damage from toxic to lightning, and the summon becomes a mage that can cast a protective shield. This together with the previous one would be a great combo. It also says that this modifier disables Ravenous Reach, which would either be another modifier or something like the taunt skill or another skill of the golem. And next comes Parasite, which is a channel of a ray on a target that leeches their HP until they become possessed. Once possessed, the target's health is restored. The possession would only work on underlings and specialist type of enemies. The first modifier that was shared for this skill is a Leaking Life, which leeches force shield instead of HP. Another one that was shared with us would be this one. Possessed monsters become stronger. Interesting one to make some specialist OP. And then you have House of Leeches. Leeches healed from yourself and heals a targeted ally. More of a healer kind of thing to go together with a tank. Or your Livor Mortis. Another skill that was revealed is Plague Burst, which would be perfect for ailment damage over time necro builds. It allows us to cast an area of effect that causes enemies or summons to explode upon death, dealing poison damage in an AoE. One of the modifiers would allow summoned allies to explode upon cast if they are inside the area of effect. Perfect for those zombie suicide builds. Then this allows us to leave a poisonous cloud when an enemy or friendly summon dies, dealing damage over time. I'm not sure whether this would work with turrets. And then we have this, that increases the explosion damage for each element stack on a monster. Pretty nice. One of my favorites from the reviews was Infinity Blades, which would be very versatile. Spell that allows us to attack enemies multiple times in a combo, giving willpower with each enemy hit. So one of the modifiers here is this one, applies a debuff that increases the damage taken by spells. Then we have a modifier that grants shadow or aether damage bonus to nearby allies, not sure whether that applies to us too, and the bonus granted depends on the base damage type of the skill, which here leads me to believe that if we can have it with shadow, it's gonna be a great combo for a shadow based Slayer's Fury setup. And then another setup that you can think of is this one. Allows you to cast warrior skills for a few seconds after using the skill, such as probably Sovereign Shout for casting an attack speed would be a great combo. And it would also go great with this skill, Juggernaut. The skill allows you to summon a shield that absorbs damage. The shield breaks at the damage threshold, damaging nearby enemies, and if you cast it early or recast it early, it explodes, dealing increased damage. Then there's modifiers like this one that inflicts a portion of your weapon damage on enemies that are attacking it, as like thrones damage. Then this one, it can be cast onto allies or yourself if no ally is targeted. Pretty nice to go with golems or just supporting your allies. And then this one, when cast, force shield is emptied and added to your maximum HP. Pretty interesting for some hybrid builds. Next comes another skill I showed you last week, but I didn't share the modifiers because they weren't released back then. This Flight of Gavanir. Cast a flying hammer in the direction of the cursor, damaging enemies along its path. The hammer returns when cast again. The first modifier that was shared with us is this one, launch 2 hammers instead of 1. Amazing AoE for mobbing. And then this one, there is an explosion in an area of effect around yourself when the hammer is recalled. If you want some more AoE, when recalled the hammer can also create a damaging area of effect at the point where it was recalled. Amazing Thor playstyle, and I can't wait to test this one. The next shared skill was Solar Fall. It allows you to channel a damaging area of effect from the sky that follows the cursor. Very nice and specific spell. And the first shared modifier is this one. Area of effect leaves a trail that damages enemies. This would be interesting, but then think about modifiers like this one and how that would work. So, creates a nova when dealing critical damage. The effect has a cooldown chance. I'm assuming each hit that deals a critical damage does the nova on the target where the enemy is getting critted. Then this one, area of effect becomes static when cast. Can be recast to change its location. This is my favorite of all 3 that have been revealed, because that means you don't have to be channeling that much maybe. Or maybe you don't have to be moving it, and you can just leave it there and let it be. Hopefully that's how it works. Next off we have modifiers of some of the skills that are already in the game. This one would allow your Bulwark of Down to also deal damage in its area of effect, which is normally just a healing buffing skill. Then you have this one, which would allow you to always fire all of your Gunslinger's Brand shots whenever your skill is used with that modifier, which would result with a lot of damage in no time. Then for Havocorp we have one that allows us to increase Havocorp's damage by making it fire rockets. That's gonna be amazing to try as well. And then we have one for Mark of Impurity that would give us a chance to make a ghostly / spectral ally appear and hit our marked targets alongside us. And next we have an interesting one for Phantom Blade, which makes the skill projectile explode on the first enemy it hits after a short delay. I do hope the damage of this gets increased by applying this modifier, by the way. Next, a modifier for one of my favorite skills, Slayer's Fury. This gives us chance to make 2 damaging projectiles appear behind the target we are attacking with the skill. And then we have something for Sovereign Shout, another interesting skill, and this would allow us to turn the enemies into a frenzied mode, which allows them to kind of start attacking random targets. Regardless whether it's a friend or a foe, they would be attacking random targets. It's gonna be nice, but I really want to see a taunt version of this skill as well, so hopefully there's one such modifier. If you have enjoyed the video and want to be notified when I upload more content, you can subscribe to my channel for Wolcen, Torchlight Frontiers, Warhammer Chaos Bane and Borderlands 3 content. Feel free to also smash the like or dislike buttons, and thank you for watching the video. Keep it cool folks, and until next time. Goodbye.